What are the qualifications of the students? Beautifully brought out in that simple sentence. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Says pranipata, pariprashna and seva. Three qualifications of the student. What is pranipata? Pranipata is complete salutations. It doesn't mean that physically you do the salutations. It is a process of surrender inside. It's a process of openness of the mind. You must have an openness of the mind to receive what the teacher is telling you. If you have a closed mind, then you cannot absorb what the teacher says. This is what is required in modern science also. You should not go with a mindset when you try to understand science. If you have a mindset, this is not possible or this is possible, then you are not a good scientific student. So you must have an openness of mind. That is implicated in the pranipata. Just as you are open, it does not mean that you just accept what all the teacher says. Pariprashna, prashna and pariprashna, questioning and questioning, going into the deep of the questions. I tell to my students, you should be such that you must tear your teachers to pieces by your questions, by such fundamental questions, such brilliant questions, such fundamental questions you must give. That is called pariprashna. Second quality. Therefore, you must decipher and go deep into the subject. The third is the seva. Seva is the service to the organization, to the teacher, to the institution. This helps in overcoming the tamas, overcoming the laziness, the lethargy, the drowsiness, the sleepiness. In our ancient Gurukula system, they used to go to the Goshala in the early morning and give nice bath to the cows and milk the cows and go and bring the fodder and all types of physical activities were given. In the modern universities we see similar thing. They are called as assistantships. They are asked to do certain physical dimensions in which you do. Help the teacher. So therefore, the approach of Upanishads, the eligibility of the students are very similar to the eligibility of the students who are in the modern way of education, the Western mode. Three qualities: pranipata, pariprashna and seva. What are the qualifications of a teacher? Guru. Earlier we saw the three dimensions for the student. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tatvadarshinaha. Jnaninaha and tatvadarshinaha. These are the two qualifications of a teacher. That means they must know the complete knowledge. They are scholars, they are professors, they know everything contained in our text. They know everything in the Prasthanatraya, Shruti Prasthana, Smriti Prasthana, Nyaya Prasthana, everything. They are a scholar, they are pandits, they are great professors. Anything you can go, you can do that. That alone is not sufficient. What is the next thing to be done? Tattva darshinaha. They must have the realization of the truths talked about in the Upanishads, in the Prasthanatraya. There are many professors, they know everything, they have knowledge, but come to life, they are a zero. I had one of my friends, he became very interested in asanas. He compiled all the different types of asanas, about 1,200 asanas, put them all in the form of a nice book, but he never practiced one single asana by himself. Not allowed. A teacher should have the experience, should have the realization of what he talks about. And that is called Tattva Darshina. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, it is said elsewhere. Shrotriyatva is scholasticism, the knowledge, the intellectual understanding. The second is actual transformational process. This is the speciality of the Upanishads. In modern science it is not necessary. You may be a big professor, you may be a Nobel laureate, but in life you may not have any of this realization at all. That is the difference between the Upanishadic teacher and the normal professor in an institution. A professor should see that his life also gets transformed into great heights. That has been emphasized. Therefore, the two qualities of the teacher, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, Jnaninaha Tattva Darshinaha, these are the two dimensions. A guru or a teacher is known as a Rishi. Rishi means a person who has unraveled the mysteries, who has realized the truth, who has found something new, a great researcher. But when he will become a Maharshi, when he will be upgraded as a big professor, the criteria for that is that he must create a student who will excel the teacher himself. He must go on transforming the student to such a height where the student will become better than himself, both in theory as well as practice. Then he is upgraded from the Rishi level to the Maharshi level. Therefore, in our parampara, continuously the students go on developing themselves better than their teachers themselves. Therefore, there is a continuous upgradation, moving towards excellence, moving towards perfection. That is the tradition. This is the tradition that we see in Harvard. This is the tradition that we see in MIT. The best of the institutions of the world have this tradition. The teacher aspires to build the students to be better than themselves. And for that, you cannot be petty, you cannot be selfish. You must put all the efforts and see that you create a student who is better than yourself. This is a great quality of a guru or a teacher that is implicated in our Upanishadic tradition. The goals of modern science and Upanishads are very similar. Search for reality is common to both. Is there a fundamental reality from there whole universe has come? Is the search for reality. And science started investigating this 400 years back, whereas Upanishads started this journey thousands of years back. And modern science has reached understanding of the physical world and is trying to go beyond the physical, while Upanishads understood the whole of this creation. That is number one. Number two, the Upanishad had the second subject matter of search for happiness. Search for reality may be of interest to the scientists, to intellectuals, to scholars, to professors. But what is relevant to everyone in the society is search for happiness. What is that we call as happiness? What is that we call as bliss? That is the search for happiness, which is something very unique to the Upanishads, which is not in the modern science. Therefore, two aspects of subjects, search for reality, quest for happiness, are the two dimensions of the Upanishads. Whereas modern science is only search for the reality. In the investigation of reality, the modern science took to the modality of investigating outside. We built up the labs to find out what is happening outside. Whereas the Upanishads took to investigate inside. The inner laboratory is our mind. We use the mind as a means to go deeper and deeper into that internal lab. This is the main difference. Modern science, external, physical laboratories. Upanishads, internal, subtle laboratories of the mind. And therefore, one is an inner search, another is an external search. And ultimately, the goal is the same, to find out the reality. How far modern science has reached? As I mentioned, we have been able to completely investigate the physical world and we are going beyond. Whereas Upanishads understood what is beyond the physical, the prana, the mind, the emotions, the intellect, consciousness and everything. That is the main difference. How many Upanishads are there? Maybe thousands. I have seen about 800 Upanishads in print. But 10 are the most important. They are called Dashopanishads. Isha, Kena, Katha, Mundaka, Mandukya, Aitriya, Taitriya, Prashna, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka. These are the 10 Upanishads which are most famous. You don't have to study all the 1000 Upanishads. You study 10 Upanishads, that's adequate, it is said. Among these 10, the smallest is the Mandukya Upanishad. The biggest is the Brihadaranyaka. And those smallest, Mandukya Upanishad is considered to be very, very important. And it is said, you don't have to study even 10 Upanishads, study one Mandukya Upanishad. Ekam Mandukyameva alam, it is said. Such is the importance given to this smallest of the Upanishads. And therefore people wrote bhashyas, commentaries, commentaries on commentaries, commentaries on commentaries and commentaries, bhashyas, vartikas, karikas and so on. And therefore you have the whole knowledge base available to us in print, available as knowledge base, and can solve all the challenges of our modern life, conflicts in life, stress and its hazards, search for reality, search for happiness, the meaning of life, everything. We have the answers in our Upanishads, in our Vedas, in our Prasthanatraya, Shruti Prasthana, Prati Prasthana, Nyaya Prasthana. And the Upanishads are the science of the Vedas, whereas Puramimamsa deals with the rituals, the technology of the Vedas. And both these things are like lies, science and technology. Science, investigational thing, questioning. Technology, its application to modern life, social relevance. Similarly, Upanishads, the science of the Vedas and the technology of the Vedas are the Puramimamsa, rituals, havanas, homas, pujas, yagnas and all this dimension. We had 2 dimensions. Just like science and technology, we had Puramimamsa and Uttaramimamsa. And the style of the Upanishad also is very, very interesting in the form of informal chit-chat, question and answers. Depending on the type of questions the student asks, the teacher understands, he is in middle school, he is in primary school, he is in PhD level, and he answers suitably. And the teacher continuously aspires to learn more and more. And the student is having the 3 qualities of pranipata, pariprashna and seva. With these things, the student is ready to learn more and more, transform himself more and more. And the teacher directs him not only to understand, but to do the investigation, just like in modern science. The students of science go on, do the experiment in the laboratory and try to investigate dimensions. This is the same modality. Modern science essentially had one purpose, search for reality. Upanishad has 2, search for reality, quest for happiness. Quest for happiness is very, very relevant to everyone in the society. Whereas the search for reality is essentially for the professor, the teacher, the scientist and the thinkers. So both the dimensions have been brought forth in Upanishad. That is the speciality of the Upanishad. And contained in the Dashopanishads, contained in all Upanishads, we have the whole knowledge base. If you can bring forth this knowledge base, then you have the total solution to all the challenges that we face today in modern science and technology. And in future talks, we will see how we went through quest of reality one side and how we went through quest of the happiness on the other side. These are going to be our next topics. And I welcome you all once again with your questions to this presentation that I made on the Upanishads as an introduction. Thank you all. Dhanyavad.